how does it feel to be number one? You know, it actually makes me want to go to work. I mean, it's almost like we've just begun, right? Number one had just begun.
They said, well, Gary, we only want to talk for 3 minutes. I said, I have an apology. I brought notes. When I bring notes, it's a scary moment. Okay, first comment is I wanted to shock you, so I wanted my suit to match my hair. Someone, I heard about a month ago, I heard the rumor that I was going gray, and I said, damn it, then I am. The other thing is where's the camera? You got to catch those. Yes, they do make mustache socks. I'm not going to show you my underwear, but... All right, this is a great time in the history of this organization. Most of the time, actually 99% of the time, if I came out here, I would talk about you. For the next 5 or so minutes, I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about these guys. When Mary asked us to, when Mary asked all of us to come out and speak this morning, I said, well, woohoo! I haven't been asked to this SOC meeting in 20-something years, so I knew something was up. But she asked each of us to speak, and I went to Mary and I said, if it would be okay, I'd like to be the one to speak. And the reason is this morning I'd like to just, I know you saw a video, and Mark and I were both laughing because we said, man, we did have our chubby cheek moments, didn't we? I did want you to notice that I was a real fashion monger, right? I mean, from the Save the Children ties to the suspenders, and then when everybody wore suspenders, I ditched the suspenders, I ditched the tie. So now I'm going to have to figure out a new look, right? So I asked Mary if it would be okay if I was the only one to speak. And the reason why this morning is because I rarely get the opportunity to stand on a stage and acknowledge these 3 people behind me. And I just, before we talk about the future, I just want to talk about where we've come from for just a minute. The video you saw, which was pretty cool, I hadn't seen it till just then. I'd like to make some edits. No, I'm just kidding. But it was pretty cool, but it doesn't actually do justice. You know, we started this journey called Keller Williams in 1983, and I've said this thing over and over, and I've said it with candor, and I also say it with total tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. You fail your way to success. And if it weren't for the 3 people behind me, Keller Williams, as you know it today, absolutely would not exist. There's no way. Absolutely. Oddly enough, at every moment or critical moment in the history of this company, when Gary Keller was failing the most, the story of this company is really about how one of these 3 people stepped in and bailed my butt out. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't say that for laughter or a joke. It's an absolute truth. And I owe my life, definitely my professional life, I also owe a lot of my personal life to them, because one of the most amazing journeys for me is how you can go into business with people to go into business, and then all of a sudden you look up and you realize that the only word that can describe your relationship with these people is the word love. And I know that sounds airy-fairy, and to heck with that. There's no other way to describe it. And it's not just my feeling for these people, but it's also, I think, their feelings for us. as a team. One of the things that makes this organization truly unique is, at its very core, is the word love. Well, it's funny. So, interestingly enough, and I'm going to tell this a little out of order, but if I could just put some words or maybe put some historic words behind what these three individuals have done, I would turn to Mo Anderson and I would say thank you for bringing the culture of this company to life. The thing is, sorry to the men in the audience, but women should rule the world. Yeah, I started profit sharing. Yeah, I started ALC. I started all these things, but I want to tell you, until Mo Anderson showed up and grabbed hold of that culture and brought standards to that culture, it would never be what it is. And without any other doubt in my mind, that is absolutely the legacy that Mo brought to this organization. Now, I met Mark before Mo, and I have to tell you about Mark Willis. The most amazing thing and it transformed my life. And there, I mentioned on the stage earlier this week that it all started with a young man named Gary Gentry and then Althea Osborne, in terms of agents that became teachers and really in many ways mentors to me. But Mark Willis changed my life in a way that I'll just always be indebted. Actually makes me choke up a little bit. And the reason is because I'd never met anybody until I met him that loved real estate agents more than me. And I'm telling you right now, deep in his heart, what got him fired from Coldwell Banker is what we love about Mark Willis. Okay? At the end of the day, at the end of the day, and it's a funny story, I've told it many times, I'll tell it again. My office used to be right next to the Southwest Market Center, and the two previous managers that we had brought into the firm to run the Southwest Market Center, so I could in fact go on and do this thing called Keller Williams, well, they didn't quite work out. And one day I was going to the bathroom, and as usually would happen, an agent would be going to the bathroom at the same time. So for those of you who don't know, I work headed to and from the bathroom. That's where Jay pops on, and I met in the bathroom. So we won't go there. A little potty humor, but I'm telling you, I'm headed to the bathroom, and I run into Gary Gentry, and Gary Gentry says to me, he says, how's it going? And I say, how's it going? And it's my typical line at the end of the walk back to our respective areas. I said, look, if you need any help, just let me know. And he turned to me and he put his hand on my shoulder, damn him, and he goes, we don't need your help. He said, actually, we're doing better with Mark Willis than we've ever done. Now, you got to understand something, that didn't hurt my feelings, okay? I went home and went, yes. And now I'm in business with somebody who is better than me. And if anything, that one of the things that Mark brought to this organization, if anything, what Mark brought to this organization is he brought a passion for not only real estate agents, which I bring and Mo brings as well, but he brought a passion for growth. Let me tell you something. History will look back over the story of Keller Williams, and it will be clearly noted that under the leadership of Mark, this organization took off like a rocket. And we owe him a deep thanks for that. Now, that brings us to the lady who's wearing bling for the first time on stage. Exactly. I heard she and Mo had a party beforehand, and good thing Mark and I went there. Well, I got to tell you something. And again, I could spend all day telling you not only my love for these individuals, but truly how they have impacted our life. The thing that Mary brought, and it's a very funny story, because when Mark agreed to be our CEO, he said, "I'm not going without Mary Tennant." And I'm going, what? Yeah, exactly. Well, I discovered very quickly what he meant. And let me tell you something. The thing about Mary, and the reason why I want to say this is because we need to understand and appreciate Mary Tennant. And the reason is because she's probably, because of her own personality, is probably one of the least recognized, but most important individuals in your life, and you didn't know